Did Sukuna have more than one domain expansion? And this gets incredibly nuanced, so spoilers beware. Okay, first of all, shout out to JC for asking me about this, and let me explain exactly what the question is here, because does Sukuna have multiple domain expansions could have a number of answers depending on what we mean, right? So obviously Sukuna has Malevolent Shrine, his normal domain that we see a couple of times throughout the series based upon his curse technique of Shrine. On top of that, because Sukuna possessed Megami's body, he might have also had access to a 10 Shadows domain expansion. Now, we never saw him use that, so we can't say for sure, but it certainly seems theoretically possible. You could certainly make a case that Kenjaku might have used Geto's domain expansion, and we know that Yuta used Gojo's when he was in possession of his body. Now, the way a cursed object incarnates is likely different in a number of ways compared to how Kenjaku's body swap brain possession operates, so maybe there's nuance there. Point is, we can't say for sure that he had Megamis, but he might have, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. Instead, we're talking about the alternate version of Malevolent Shrine that Sukuna learned to cast thanks to hitting consecutive black flashes, which allowed him to find a new neural pathway to opening his domain expansion. It's why this looked so grotesque and different from the Malevolent Shrine we were previously used to. So JC's question here is, did Sukuna now have access to multiple different Malevolent Shrines? And had he survived at the end of JJK and had been able to fully recover back to 100%, would he now be in possession of two separate domains? And JC even goes as far as to say, like, could he cast one Malevolent Shrine, walk a mile to the left and cast another and have both simultaneously up? So this is a really interesting question. Though in my opinion, no. Sukuna would not be capable of casting two separate simultaneous domain expansions. How I understand what he did there was just finding a new pathway to his same domain. So if we want to think about their brains as having been damaged due to their fighting and their repeated opening of domains, and in Sukuna's case, taking unlimited void, you could just think of it as his normal pathway was part of his damaged brain. And I know this is Gojo's brain, but y'all get the picture. And so he couldn't open it, right? Because that part of his brain was damaged. So the black flashes and his genius just allowed him to find a new pathway amongst healthy portions of his brain, but to still reach that same destination of Malevolent Shrine. So you could think of it as he still only has one domain, but now he's got multiple ways to do it. So you could fathom a scenario where he's opening his domain and that part of his brain is cooked. But you know what? He can still open it because he has a route B that he can take.